week I have read Ruth and begun reading First Samuel. And in both those books, we're given two incredible women, and I'm glad God included them in the scriptures to remind us of two women who are outside the circles, were neglected in many ways, but God showed his mercy and his grace to them. The first I'm going to mention is Hannah, found in First Samuel chapter 1. Hannah was not able to have children, a theme we find often in Scripture. But beyond that, Hannah was a second wife, or her husband had an other wife anyway, and that other wife could have children, lots of children. And she taunted Hannah. She made Hannah feel miserable. And I would even argue that she caused Hannah to feel depressed, feel discouraged. Hannah went and prayed, and she asked Lord for a child, and God promised her one, and in fact gave her one by the name of Samuel. Now, part of the deal was that she would give Samuel back to the Lord, and she did. And guess what? The famous prophet Samuel was her son. The other woman is Ruth. We read of Ruth in the book of Ruth, chapter 1, and there we find her, another outsider, having lost her husband, along with her brother-in-law and her father-in-law, and her and Naomi and her sister Orpah are heading back to Israel because they're in a desperate situation. And as they're heading back, Naomi encourages both the sisters to just go home, leave her. But we see that Ruth is the one who says no. She's going to follow. And we find these wonderful words in Ruth chapter 1, verse 16 and 17. But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you, for where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do to me, and much more also, if anything but death parts me from you." Those are powerful words of a reminder of commitment. Now, what's interesting for both of these women is both of these women, ultimately, their commitment was to God. Though Ruth was making a commitment to Naomi, it was her commitment. She was saying to Naomi that Naomi's people would be her people, and Naomi's God would be her God. And on the other hand, Hannah gave up her son to the service in the temple or the tabernacle of the Lord. Those are both radical commitments, but commitments that show the glory of God. The question we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to make that radical decision? Are we willing to follow after God, to serve him in whatever capacity he calls us to do? And when we make that commitment, stay with that commitment and see what God does. I'm Bob Orner, and I'd like you to think about that.